Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Holyrood's special public meeting of council. This is the first one, the first special meeting we've had this year. The date of today's meeting is July 5th. It's being held at 12 p.m. So thanks, everybody, for joining. Before we get going, just like to run down through the list of participants we have here today. So from council, we have Councillor Roger Mayet, Councillor Sadie King, and Councillor Kim Ganney. From staff, we have Krista Turnbull, Robert Stacy, Marie Searle, Gary Corbett, and Steve Martin. So thanks everybody for joining. So this is a special meeting we've added today. Appreciate it was with short notice, but it was required to deal with the option of adding, and I highlight the word option, for adding mail-in voting in the upcoming municipal election. So we'll get into the agenda now, and once we present the motions, we'll try and give a little more detail around what the intent of this is. So number one, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor King. Could I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Mayet.
Seconded by Councillor Mayet. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 And anybody against? Okay, motion is carried. Item 2, so the adoption of the agenda, and there is one agenda addition in addition to what we had posted earlier. So could I have a mover on this, please?
Councillor Ganney.
Moved by Councillor Ganney, seconded by
Councillor King.
Seconded by Councillor King. Discussion? Okay, no discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And anybody against? Okay, motion is carried. Item 3, Councillor King.
We have a motion today for a leave of absence, and the motion reads, be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve leave for Councillor Jim Joy to be absent for a number of council meetings due to personal reasons. So moved.
That's moved by Councillor King. Could I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Ganney.
Seconded by Councillor Ganney. Discussion? Okay, if no discussion, just want to make a couple of comments there. So I do speak with Councillor Joy on a regular basis. So I'd like to thank Jim for all of his contributions to date, and hopefully Councillor Joy will see you back at the table before the end of this term. So thank you once again. And all those, will move to a vote now. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And against? Motion is carried. Okay. Next, the voting by mail. So Councillor King, can I get you to read these next 2 motions as well?
Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood authorize voters to vote by mail in the upcoming 2021 municipal election. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King. Can I have a seconder?
Councillor Mayet.
Seconded by Councillor Mayet. Discussion? Okay. Just wanted to add some detail around here, around this motion, and it'll probably flow into the second motion as well, items 4 and items 5 on the agenda. So the intent of this motion is to allow mail-in voting as an option in the upcoming municipal election. When we consider it as an option, we talked about this. We first talked about this back later this spring, and back in March, April, we really had no idea where we would find ourselves sitting with regards to the COVID-19 active cases, where specific public health guidelines would be sitting when we rolled up to the September 28th municipal election. So council thought it was a good idea, and we look to implement the mail-in voting process. So that's the reason we're not doing it. We're basically doing it to make sure as many residents as possible have legitimate access to cast their vote on election day. What we also need to realize is that right now, this is just an option that the town is giving itself. We're not saying we are going to allow mail-in voting, even though I hope we do, personally. But this is a process we're stepping through to allow government to give us the right to have mail-in voting. So the minister has already approved this. That was the first step in the process. We originally wrote him back in April, I think it was, and we received approval sometime in mid to late June. And that approval that we received from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, I read that under the correspondence section at the last public meeting, and it's been mentioned numerous times at subsequent public meetings as well since April as something council we're looking to pursue. So that's some of the reasoning around what we're doing here today. Anybody else have any comments that they'd like to make on this one?
Well, we have a lot of seniors here in Holyrood, and a lot of them are not comfortable still going out and going to places where there's a lot of people. So I think it's great for the seniors in our town who can't get out. 1 second now. I'm in a meeting. And I also think that we have a lot of people in our homes who would like to exercise their right to vote but can't get out. So I think this is great. And for anybody who can't get out, they can take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Myatt, any comments, or what's your thoughts about the addition of the potential addition of mail-in voting here?
Yeah, I think it's great the provincial government is actually giving the towns the option of mail-in voting. I think it's in Holyrood's best interest to allow it, since we're in a pandemic and some people who have not received their second vaccine shot are so nervous about going out in public. And they probably would refrain from going out in public if there was a mail-in option. Also, some residents of our town don't have readily available transportation at their disposal. Therefore, it'd be nice to continue to use this mail-in voting as an option for all elections going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And just so everyone is in the loop, none of the discussions to date have been to completely eliminate the in-person voting process either that's been traditionally followed by the town. Even though if the pandemic does raise its ugly head again, we do have the option to switch to a full mail-in system, but that is by no means the intention, or as I know it, that is by no means the intention at the moment, is to take people's right away to vote in person at a polling station.
From an accessibility perspective, I think adding this as an option for voting allows the right to vote to be even more widespread than it has been previously, pandemic or not. I think that having this option available to any municipality is the right way to go, because as previously stated by Councillor Myatt and Councillor King and yourself, Mayor, we don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic, and allowing people to vote in whatever way is achievable, I think is a very important step to take, whether we end up implementing it or not.
Okay, thank you, Councillor King. Yeah, so hopefully we've added some clarity around some of the questions that have been asked. But one of the other things we need to consider here is this is just a part of the process that's now going to allow us to use mail-in voting. That if this motion is passed and the next one is passed, then council has the work to sit down and actually figure out the details around how the mail-in voting process will work. And that's where the finer details will fall out with regards to voters lists and storage of ballots and how they're counted and all that good stuff. So like I said, that's the next step in the process, and we welcome all public all public input into how people would like to see that unfold. So with that being said, if there's no further comments, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody against? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, Councillor King, you want to do number 5?
Number 5, vote by mail regulations. Be it resolved that the town of Holyrood approve the vote by mail regulation for the upcoming 2021 municipal election. Regulations will be forwarded to the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs for review and approval. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King. Could I have a seconder?
Councillor Ganny.
Seconded by Councillor Ganny. Discussion. So, like I said above, this is the next part, the next submission that has to be done to government. The town has had to draft the regulations that surround the mail-in voting option. So those have been drafted, and they have been drafted in consultation with municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador and their legal team. So once the regulations get submitted to the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs, we don't expect any comment around those, just because it's a set of regulations that we feel are being widely used by other municipalities, and it has been vetted by what we hope a very experienced legal team who are used to being involved in government processes like that, given the fact they work for municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador. So these regulations have to be into municipal affairs by close of business today, and that's the reason that we needed to hold this special meeting this afternoon. This motion needs to be passed, and then we can send it in to the minister for final approval. Any other comments? You happy with all this, Councillor King?
No problem for me. I'd just like to see the mail-in voting. Gives more people a chance to vote.
Okay. Councillor King, or sorry, Councillor Ganny?
I agree. It's important to follow the process in order to allow accessible voting, and given the deadline, the short notice for the public meeting is perhaps less than desirable, but necessary in order to meet the deadline. So, no, those are my comments.
Councillor Myatt, anything from you?
Yeah, I just surprised this hasn't been done earlier in the process. Like I said, mail-in voting allows people with accessibility issues and transportation issues to actually get out and vote. Because as we all know, that is some people during voting or during the election, they actually send out, sort of a message saying if you need someone to pick you up and bring you out to a voting station, let us know. So, this kind of eliminates that and allows more people to get involved in the voting process. So I think it's a great thing. It should be going forward, pandemic or not.
Okay. Thanks for that. So if there's no further comments, we'll move this motion to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 And anybody against? Okay, motion is carried. So, folks, that's the end of the that's the end of the agenda for this special meeting. So, could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Councillor King.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by
Councillor Myatt.
Councillor Ganny.
Seconded by Councillor Myatt. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody against? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, thanks everybody for joining the special meeting on short notice. Apologize for the short notice, and look forward to chatting with you all in the near future. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.